You are listening to Pocketful of Diamonds, Book 7 of the Nadia Wolf series, written by Nicolette Pierce. Copyright 2016. Audio copyright 2025 by Pierced Heart Publishing. Digitally narrated with full cast of voices.
Chapter 14. Ian said she was beautiful. She felt every bit of it under his caring gaze. She would give herself this one night no matter what the morning would bring. She would have no regrets. "So, I believe," she said, letting her finger drift over his abdomen and down to the sheet, thrilled to notice his body quivered at her touch, "that your cloth will fall off quicker than mine."
And I think yours will.
She raised a brow in challenge. Gwen let her fingers play with the edge of the cloth before she grabbed hold and let gravity take over. She smiled as the cloth fluttered to the floor. Her fingers dragged lower. "This, I remember." Ian returned the smile playfully. Before she even saw his hand, her dress fell next to his. He leaned to her.
And I remember this.
Ian kissed her, but not like before at the ceremony. This kiss demanded and took with no questions. It was hungry and desperate. He nudged her closer to the bed, and when he fell into it, she tumbled down with him. With her hand still tied to his, she was limited and wanted to rip it off in order to run both her hands along his form, through his hair, down his back. But one hand would have to do for now. She would not remove the grass braid. It meant too much to her. She hoped to keep it as a reminder of her time with Ian and this night. Ian kissed a heated trail down her neck, lingering on a spot that left her breathless. He took his time placing kisses that branded her as he navigated farther down her body. He gave all of his attention and talent to one breast, and then mirrored his actions on the other. She moaned her satisfaction, spurring him to more amazing feats with his tongue.
I missed you.
She lit from the inside out. "Not nearly as much as I missed you." His hand caressed her, making her toes clench.
I'm not stopping here, Gwen.
"I don't want you to stop." He chuckled, the sound rumbling through him and into her.
You misunderstand.
He looked her in the eyes, his gray eyes smoky and dark.
I'm going to find out all your secrets. I'm going to find out who is blackmailing you and why. I'm going to find out everything.
She swallowed, unsure how to respond. Finally, she shook her head. "Don't."
I already made the promise.
"I believe you also promised not to talk until tomorrow." He smiled, and then kissed her thoroughly, his tongue at war with hers. She knew he was telling her in body language what he couldn't say out loud. This wouldn't be the last she'd hear of his promise to learn her secrets. As soon as he woke tomorrow, he'd wear her down. But tonight was her chance to wear him down. She wrapped her legs around him, feeling a surge of warmth as he settled between her. Yes, she would wear him down until he forgot everything.
Ian stirred awake, far past the time he normally did. While his body was limp, satiated even more than he thought possible, his mind was in turmoil. He didn't dream in clouds and kisses. He dreamt in numbers, diamonds, guns. Whatever happened today, he had to come up with a solution, and not just to get the diamonds out of Najamba safely, but for the health and longevity of the village. Diamonds weren't the answer. They caused more problems than they solved. He would not look to expand the mining land like he originally had anticipated. He would not risk the villagers. If he could sell the last of the diamonds, the windfall would be in the billions. He could easily distribute as much money as needed. But that wasn't the answer either. The people of Najamba were proud and hard-working. They would not accept a handout, even if it came from mining. Nor could he see them becoming instant millionaires. It would only cause havoc and heartache. He'd think of a substitute, something they could do once the final ground had been hauled and the land became barren once again. The money would provide for the village and its needs, another school and clinic. Ian would think more on that once he spoke with Gerard. But first, where in the hell was his wife? He automatically looked at his hand to find the braid was gone. Ian stamped down the flux of emotions that stormed in him, the strongest being fear. Did she leave him again? Would she be that cruel to leave without saying goodbye, to offer an explanation? Not that he needed one. He probably scared her when he promised to uncover her secrets. He groaned at his persistence. While he didn't want to press her, he did want resolution, for both of them. Was she truly being blackmailed, and what was being held against her? It had to be something significant or she wouldn't continue. Gwen was too strong to be someone's pawn without a dire reason. Ian swung his feet off the bed and sat at the edge, trying not to panic. He refused to run out of here on a frantic search. If she had truly left, then he would pretend it meant nothing to him. He would pretend it didn't feel as though his insides were being twisted with a butcher knife. He calmly rose, wrapped a towel around his waist, and headed to the shower. Dunking the bucket into the rain barrel, he went through the motions as if it were a normal day. He would not panic. When the gallon had run dry, he toweled, dressed, and proceeded to the mine. He should check in with Gerard. He was pleased to find the workers were out, wading the river and sifting through dirt. Several smiled and waved when they saw he had arrived.
Searching for a blonde?
Gerard asked. Ian turned to find Gerard only a few paces behind him. I didn't see you there. Is everything okay? Gerard shrugged.
Nothing new. Fode has everyone working to the south.
I want to come up with a solution for when the mine closes. Gerard raised a brow.
For good?
Ian nodded. It was something he often thought about. Najamba's survival should not rest on one man's shoulders. If Ian died tomorrow, Gerard would step in. But for how long? The diamond conflict is hurting the land and the people. I want to start them on a path towards self-sufficiency. One that won't bring the government, rebels, or poachers down upon their heads.
Like what?
I don't know. But it should be something they can access and something they can do with pride.
Not too many options here.
I know, and I want to change that.
Why the sudden shift? Is it because of a certain blonde with quick fingers?
No, this has been a long time coming, but it took me a while to realize it. Ian studied Gerard for a moment. If you want to continue the diamond trade, you can have as much of the last haul as you need to buy more land. Gerard shook his head.
I might be good at what I do, but it's never been a requirement for me to stay here. If staying means learning a new trade, then that's what I'll do.
Ian wasn't going to press Gerard with questions. Gerard kept his own counsel. Ian might someday hear Gerard's story, but not today. He clapped a hand on Gerard's shoulder. Give it some thought. We can go over ideas later. Right now, I want to move the diamonds out.
How soon?
Tonight.
And then what?
I'll fly them out in the morning.
What about Gwen?
Ian stayed quiet. He didn't want to give it away that she might be gone, and he had no idea where she might be. This doesn't involve her, Ian finally said. In fact, I want her as far away as possible when this happens. Gerard flicked a hesitant glance over Ian's shoulder and froze. Ian slowly turned to find Gwen, fire glinting in her eyes. He quickly held up his hands. I meant for safety. God, she was still here, and he wanted to grab her and kiss her senseless, but he feared she'd knock him flat right now. Her whole frame bristled.
No, I completely understand why you wouldn't want me around.
She stepped close.
But you do know that I could have taken it all and been out of here before you woke up.
I didn't mean it like that, I swear. Ian slowly reached out. Gwen, please. She turned on her heel and marched away. It was then that he noticed the grass braid was wrapped around her wrist. His heart skipped several beats. She was taking their marriage seriously. She'd stayed for him. And then he'd opened his mouth and inserted his foot. But he was afraid for her safety, not because she would be a possible liability. Right? Unfortunately, he had a bad feeling that it sounded exactly the way he meant it. He didn't trust her. Gerard nodded to where Gwen stormed down the trail in the direction of Ian's cabin.
I've got things covered here. Go, before she realizes you're a terrible husband and leaves you. Again.
I think she just figured that out. Gerard nudged him.
Go. Manny has a one-client limit, and he's mine for the foreseeable future.
Ian smirked. Harry's not too bad in case you need a second opinion.
I'll keep that in mind. If I see Jala heading your way, I'm coming for breakfast. Make sure all the emotional stuff is cleared up by then.
He grimaced. Make your own breakfast if you can't stomach it. He arched a brow.
And Miss Jala's cooking?
Didn't you already eat with the crew?
That was a pre-breakfast snack. I saved room.
Ian shook his head and took off after Gwen, wondering how he was going to smooth her rightfully ruffled feathers. But it brought up a good question, one that he wasn't ready to answer, especially since they both seemed to want this marriage to work. But how could it survive without trust?
Gwen tried to put as much distance between herself and Ian as possible, but he caught up with her before she reached his hut. She had hoped for some privacy but didn't know where else to go. Obviously, this wasn't the right choice.
Gwen, wait.
She stopped and turned around, arms crossed as she faced him. He reached for her, cupping her face in his hands. She immediately pulled away.
Don't be mad. It was wrong of me to say what I did. We are married. I will trust you. You stayed.
He smiled, his white teeth a contrast to his tan skin.
When I woke up, I tried not to think the worst, but
He shrugged.
I don't understand this hold you have over me, but I want it. I want you.
Gwen saw the honesty in his eyes as they held her captive. She dropped her arms to her side. You don't have to explain. I know I have a long way to go before I earn your trust, but I will someday.
You have my trust. From this moment forward, I will do my best to always give you the benefit of the doubt.
He took her hands into his and squeezed them.
But you need to trust me too.
I do.
Then trust me enough to tell me who is blackmailing you. Tell me so we can move past this ridge that lies between us.
Gwen didn't know what to think, but she knew he was right. If Ian was willing to forgive everything she did and trust her, how could she withhold information? Ian, I want to tell you, but you have to promise you won't interfere.
I can't promise that. I want to help. I have resources you can use.
She shook her head. I need your promise.
So you'll tell me if I promise, but I can't do anything to help.
Gwen was about to answer when Jala walked past them and into the hut. When Gwen looked at him questioningly, he said,
Breakfast. Let's eat, and then we can discuss this.
She held his hand, stopping him from following Jala. There is nothing more to discuss. Just give me your word.
But I don't think I could keep it.
They were at an impasse. He would never fully trust her because she could never explain her situation. Gwen couldn't risk Ian becoming a pawn in her war with Duvine. But by marrying Ian, she had done just that. Duvine could use him to manipulate her more. But what were the odds that he would find out? It's not as if a marriage certificate existed. However, there was the issue of the leaked photo. Would knowledge of their marriage be leaked too? If so, this would be a great time to escape. Both of them. Perhaps take a honeymoon. She smiled. I think I have an idea of how you can move the diamonds without being suspected.
How?
We'll go on a honeymoon and take them with us. He shook his head.
It will be too dangerous. I won't take the chance. Not with you.
His words were soft, caring. I've been in danger before, and I survived, just like you survived. She studied him as he tried to mask his face unsuccessfully. Something preyed upon his conscience. Suddenly she had a fierce urge to know what had happened to him. Ian was a different man than the one she remembered, one whose hands shook while holding a knife. This new vulnerable side made her love him all the more. It made him just as damaged as her. Equal. I propose a small compromise. I will answer one of your questions if you answer one of mine. He looked warily at her.
What if I don't want to answer your question?
Do you think I want to answer yours? A smile slipped onto his lips and he hugged her to him.
Let's eat breakfast first, and then we'll try this your way.
He backed away so he could look at her.
I just don't want you to think differently of me.
Gwen didn't think there was anything he could say that would cast him in a bad light. She worried more about what he would think of her confession.